Okay, alright guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how to build an aesthetic physique. This is the full guide of pretty much just everything I know just put into one video, so let's get into it. So first of all, what you want to be focusing on is building the muscles which are really going to bring out your V-taper. So this is going to be your traps, your lateral deltoids, your upper chest, and your neck. These are probably the most important muscles. So each one of these, you want this to really kind of be a little bit bigger than the rest of your physique. So what I recommend is maybe one extra set on each of these muscle groups compared to the rest of them. So I mean, it's good to have a proportionate physique, but realistically, to have the most aesthetic physique possible, you want to be bringing out those kind of muscles there a little bit more. So these muscles should really be a bit larger than the rest of your physique. So moving on to the kind of split, you want to be hitting each muscle group at least 2 times per week. This is because muscles take around 72 hours to fully repair themselves and recover, and then they're ready to go again. So, I mean, if you're only training them once a week, you are leaving potential gains on the table. You still will make gains that way, but it's better to do 2 times a week. So two splits that you can try, these are relatively beginner friendly. You can do push-pull legs, that's the one I do, or you can do 3 times a week full body workout. So one thing to mention here is that it is very easy to overtrain, which you're not going to want to do because recovery is a very important part. If you're overtraining, it's going to tank your testosterone. And in addition to that, you're just not going to be able to keep building muscle because your body's going to be overworked the whole time. It needs that recovery to build that muscle and then keep going. So you could do push-pull legs, rest, or full body 1 day a week, then rest, then 1 day on, then 1 day off again. So something like that. So moving on to the fundamentals, you want to be doing 6 to 10 reps per set. I found that this is the perfect combination of strength and muscle growth. You don't want to be doing anywhere lower than 6 reps because that's just going to be building strength as opposed to hypertrophy. However, if you're going over 10 reps, it's going to get more into endurance and not really muscle growth as much. So I found that 6 to 10 reps is pretty much perfect, and that works for me. And it's the combination of strength and muscle growth which is going to help you because you can't really just have that aesthetic physique without building up the strength first, because that's going to allow you to push further, push more weights around, etc. So another thing that's important is you're going to need a 4-second decline. And this is arguably actually the most important part of the rep. The decline, so on bench press, for example, when you're pulling down, you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just really going to give you the best possible return out of your reps. So a lot of people really kind of neglect this and they kind of like push up too fast and stuff, but the biggest part, the most gain that you're going to get is just from that decline. And you want to be aiming for about 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. So the first 10 sets is where you're going to make most of your gains for each muscle group, and then after that the incline, the amount of muscle that you're going to be building is going to be slightly less per each set. However, it peaks at around 20 sets. So from 10 to 20 sets per muscle group, you're still going to be making muscle. It's not going to be as effective as the first 10 sets, but you're still going to be making muscle. So if you're a beginner, I recommend about 10 sets per muscle group. And then as you get more advanced, you can add on to that. However, anything above 20 sets has proven to be kind of negligible because of the return. It's just it tends to go down because your muscle group can't recover as well. So I don't recommend going over 20 sets per set each week. Prioritizing compound lifts. This is important because compound lifts, in my opinion, they're the most effective for building muscle and just making you overall stronger. They work multiple muscle groups at the same time. So for example, squats, they're going to work accessory muscles. They're going to work the hamstrings, glutes, quads, and calves all at the same time. So exercises like squats, bench press, bent over rows, pull-ups, dips, and overhead press, stuff like that. That's really going to be the most beneficial exercises. They're also great for boosting testosterone, where you're doing compound lifts, and overall they just are found to be the most effective for building muscle compared to isolation exercises. So progressively overload, this is something a lot of people make mistakes on when they're starting. Best way to do this is to track your workouts. I'll get to that in a second, but a progressive overload is essentially just doing something extra each time you enter the gym. So this could be more sets on a particular workout, or the same sets and more reps, or just one more exercise you're going to add in after a while. So this is so that you're just increasing the amount of stress that your muscles are under, which is just going to force them to grow because they're facing more stress. So, and the best way to do this is to track your workouts. So by this, what you could do is you could bring a notepad with you. You could write down the weight, the amount of reps you did, and the amount of weight. That's normally what I do. And the next time you come in, you can look at that, and you can just try and beat that and get a more amounts of reps, or just add on a little bit more weight each time, and that way you're going to ensure that you are correctly progressively overloading. Number six, this could arguably be the most important part, is your diet. One thing about diet is you want to be eating single one ingredient meals. So this could be stuff like steak, eggs, chicken, rice, vegetables, fruit, for example, where there's just one ingredient. So if you're eating processed food, they're going to have a lot of ingredients. These are just going to be made in a lab, and they're just going to be pumped into your food, which is really it's going to tank your testosterone, which is bad for muscle growth, and it's just not ideal for muscle growth. What you really want to be eating is just those one ingredient meals like chicken that you can buy straight up like that. So yeah, essentially that's the best way to go about that. Eating plenty of healthy fats. A lot of people think fats are bad. They're actually, if they're healthy fats, like the fats you find on steak and stuff like that, they're going to help boost your testosterone. That's going to lead to muscle growth, and they are actually good for you. So cooking with butter and ghee, as opposed to like spreadable butters and stuff like that, they've just had a lot of preservatives added into them, and it's just not really helpful. It's not going to help your muscle growth. So foods to avoid, processed foods, like I've said, sugar, that's a big one. It's just going to tank your testosterone, like I've said before. And just anything that's stated low fat, like low fat yogurt, for example, what they do is they just take the fat out and just put sugar in. So essentially, you want to be avoiding those. Vegetable oils and seed oils proven to be estrogenic. They can also cause cancer and other effects like that, but we're not going to get into that in this video. But definitely, you want to be avoiding those. You want to be cooking with butter, ghee, or olive oil. Last of all, this is a mistake that a lot of people make, just trying to get too big. Um, there was some kind of theory that everyone thinks the ideal body weight for aesthetics is 30 to 40 pounds heavier than it actually is. You don't really want to be looking too big. Like you can see Eddie Hall over here. He's obviously the world's strongest man. He's not going for aesthetics, but compared to David Lade, who has a lot less muscle, he just looks a lot better and just has an overall more aesthetic physique. And he isn't trying to get as big as possible. He's trying to maintain his physique. He's trying to maintain his low body fat and his proportions. So I think that's the best way to go about it. And yeah, so yeah, that's everything in this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.